heard you singing it. I want to hear you sing it again. Would you do it? I'll say yes, Lord, yes, to your will and to your... I'll say yes, Lord, yes. I will trust you and obey when your spirit speaks to me. With my whole heart, with my whole heart, I'll agree, and my answer will be yes, Lord, yes. Give yourselves a hand, friends. You're singing good tonight, all right? On this cold, frigid winter's night in Ohio.
Indiana.
Oh my God. We were in Arizona last week. As I journey through the land, singing as I go, pointing souls to Calvary, to the crimson flow. Many arrows pierce my soul, from without, within. But my Lord leads me on, through him I must win. Oh, I want to see him, look upon his face, there to sing forever of his amazing grace. On the streets of glory, let me lift my voice. Cares all past, home at last, ever to rejoice. Oh yeah. When in service for my Lord, dark may be the night. Oh, but I'll cling more close to him. He will give me light. Satan's snares may vex my soul, turn my thoughts aside, but my Lord goes ahead and leads where betide. Oh, I want to see him, look upon his face, there to sing forever of his amazing grace. On the streets of glory, let me lift my voice. Cares all past, home at last, ever to rejoice. Cares all past, home at last, cares all past, home at last. Oh, I want to see him, look upon his face, there to sing forever of his amazing grace. On the streets of glory, let me lift my voice. Cares all past, home at last, ever to rejoice. Cares all past, home at last, ever to rejoice. Oh, I want to see him, look upon his face, there to sing forever. Let me lift my voice, ever to rejoice.
Yeah. Praise the Lord.
That's an old song we grew up singing at the church we grew up in. Here's a brand new song that I just wrote a couple years ago, calling on the presence of the Lord.
Give us a glimpse, show us a sign. We want a taste of the Holy Divine. A power so strong, this world can't deny. Heaven is real and Jesus is mine. We long for Jesus is mine. Blessed are they who believe in the night. We still believe we won't quit the fight. But nothing compares to the feeling we feel when heaven comes down and your glory's revealed. So give us a glimpse, show us a sign. We want a taste of the holy divine. A power so strong this world can't deny. Heaven is real and Jesus is mine. Oh, give us a glimpse, show us a sign. We want a taste of the holy divine. A power so strong this world can't deny. Heaven is real and Jesus is mine. A power so strong this world can't deny. Heaven is real. Oh, heaven is real. Heaven is real and Jesus is mine. Yes, He's mine. Oh, Jesus is
Praise the Lord.
A power so strong this world can't deny. That heaven is real and Jesus is mine. Hallelujah. Alina, sing that song.
I know the master of the wind. I know the maker of the rain. He can calm the storm, make the sun shine again. I know the master of
Oh, do it one more time.
I know the master of the wind.
I know the maker of the rain.
I know the maker of the rain.
He can calm my storm.
He can calm the storm, make the sun shine again.
I know the master.
I know the master of the wind. He can calm the storm, make the sun shine again. I know the master of the wind.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah. His power is unmatched. His wisdom is unknown. And His glory will never ever be contained. Hallelujah.
Jesus is everything. Jesus is everything this world could ever need. His power unmatched, His wisdom unknown, His glory cannot be contained. Jesus is everything.
For whatever you're facing tonight,
Jesus is everything. Jesus is everything this world could ever need.
put heavens above. Who could be so great that a rock would give him praise? There is only one, and Jesus is his name. We are so frail and weak, but his strength is all we need.
Our minds can comprehend.
God knows all things
Before they begin, how dare we keep silent while the rocks praise his name?
they can keep their peace. We will
Proclaim, Jesus is everything. Jesus is everything this world could ever need. His power unmatched, his wisdom unknown, his glory cannot be contained. Jesus is everything. Jesus is
Praise the Lord.
Amen. Hallelujah. Would you sing this? 'Tis so sweet to trust in Jesus, just to take him at his word, just to rest upon his promise, just to know, thus saith the Lord. You know the chords. Jesus, Jesus, how I trust him, how I proved him o'er and o'er. Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus, oh, for grace to trust him more.
Oh, yes.
Amen to that. God is so worthy of our trust tonight, isn't he? And that's why we're here, to lift him up and to give him praise and to tell the world that he's trustworthy. No matter where you're at or what you're going through, he's worthy of our trust in our lives and our service. And that's what we do on a full-time basis, traveling all over, mainly North America, lifting up the Lord and giving him praise. We were in Arizona 2 weeks ago, so forgive me for forgetting that I was in Indiana tonight. Actually, I knew I was in Indiana. I knew that, but I just said Ohio because sometimes my brain doesn't work, all right? But it is so good to be here, and truly we are honored that you came out on a cold Saturday night. I know there's probably a temptation to sit inside and not brave the elements, but you came out, and you're here, and you're worshiping the Lord. Oh, you're singing good, and we are so grateful that you are here. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you. And well, we have never been here before, and I'm sure that most of you haven't seen us in concert since we've never sung in this area exactly. So I'll tell you who we are up here briefly, okay? So you can know who the family is. This guy right here is my dad, Ray Cragun. Would you welcome my dad here tonight? My dad is a bass singing machine, y'all, all right?
Yeah.
He said not tonight because he's got one of those coughs and going on. I don't know what he's got. He's something that I don't know what it is.
It's from another planet. I don't like it.
I don't even know.
Still sounds good.
He's just dealing with it, and it won't go away. I don't even think he's contagious anymore because he's had it for like 2 months. And we don't get it, but he just can't get it out of his chest, and it makes it hard to sing. But he sounded good, isn't he? You know, sometimes when bass singers get a cold, it just makes them lower. But whatever he's got is not helping that out much, but he's still getting down there and hitting some low ones. You might hear him cough every once in a while, but he's going to do a good job, I know. I love getting to travel with my dad, you guys. It's just a joy. I love this man with all of my heart. And this was my pastor growing up. Because before we started this ministry, 6 years ago in May of this year, will be our 6th anniversary, my dad was a pastor for 25 years. And 20 of those 25 years, he pastored the same church. And that church was down in Ponchatoula, Louisiana. And that's why I say y'all, okay? So, but we grew up in Cajun country, just north of New Orleans, on the north shore of Lake Pontchartrain. And yeah, we were there during Katrina and all that craziness those years ago. But we grew up in church singing a lot of these songs that we've been singing for you tonight so far. And my dad and my mom had 6 kids, 4 boys and 2 girls. And all of my brothers and sisters are serving Jesus in the ministry. A lot of my brothers are pastors. I had great parents and a great mother who's got the grandkids tonight, so y'all pray for her back in Ohio. And what a joy to take the gospel to the world with the man who taught me about Jesus. I love him. I love him with all my heart. And I say this all the time, and I mean it. When I grow up, I want to sing bass like he does. This is my youngest sister, Savannah. Would you welcome Savannah? Kind of look alike, don't we?
Yeah.
She's prettier. She's prettier. I hope so. She definitely is. She is the baby of all 6 of those Cragun kids I just told you about. So I call Savannah the caboose of the Cragun train. All right. That's not a very flattering name, but that's what I call her because I'm her oldest brother, and we get to pick on our little sisters. I love Savannah so much. She's got one of those smooth alto voices that harmonizes real nice, even with me. It's amazing. She's also an artist. She does these drawings and has a website. And when we're not singing, which isn't very often, but when we're not singing, she's got a pencil or a paintbrush in her hand. And you were actually doing that on the way over here this afternoon. I heard you back there with a pencil. And I don't know how you do that while we're bumping down the roads, but she's amazing. And I'm so proud of her and my talented sister. And I tell people this all the time. She's 22 and she's single. And we like it that way, unless you can drive a bus. If you can drive a bus, we're taking applications, all right? It's a good one, isn't it, Savannah? This is my wife, Alina. Would you welcome Alina here? Alina is a Florida girl, all right? She grew up in South Florida. And her dad was a pastor as well. And she grew up in a pastor's home like I did, except she grew up in a Spanish church. They sang these same hymns, except they sang them in Spanish. And I don't understand Spanish, but I'm glad she does. This is my interpreter.
That's good.
But Alina's dad is from Honduras, the island areas of Honduras, a beautiful region, and her mother is from Turks and Caicos Islands. That's down in the Caribbean, down there where the water's green and everybody wants to be right now. That's where her mother grew up. And her dad was an engineer on a ship that traveled all over the world in his 20s. And he was not a Christian, but a Christian man from Turks and Caicos, who later introduced him to your mother, got on that ship and worked beside him for 2 years. And every day for 2 years, as your dad tells the story, he said that man would preach at me about Jesus. And he said that man got on my nerves so bad. But he said one day I couldn't resist Jesus any longer. And he knelt down in his bunk room and he became a Christian right there.
Praise the Lord.
And believed on Jesus. And then he ended up coming to the States and to a Bible college in Hope Sound where he met your mother and all that, and he got a degree in ministry and went on to become a pastor, and went on to plant 40-some churches all over the world. So she grew up in a pastor's home, and a great man of God, and great family. Of course, they're both Americans now and have lived in the States for many years. But Alina grew up in church singing with her sisters, kind of like I did, growing up singing with my brothers and sisters and family. And now we've got 2 little kids of our own, who we usually bring with us. But Grandma, we just got back from Arizona. We literally got back from 11 concerts in 10 days in Arizona. And we were gone for about 2 weeks, and when we came, we just got back on Wednesday night. And Grandma said, I'll keep the kids for you this weekend. Can y'all just give Grandma a hand clap of praise? But we do love to bring the kids, you know, and when they're with us, we'll bring them up here and sing. And that's always fun. We have a brand new album, and our little 5-year-old daughter, Scarlett, for the first time in her life, sang on our brand new album. And she did so good. She sang with the song Proud. It is a good song, and I'm thankful that our kids are getting incorporated into what we're doing. But you never know what they're going to say or what they're going to do, you know, because they've got these mouths on them and they work. And I love to tell this story. We were at the house. We live on a farm in Ohio. We have a large cattle operation. We have 5 cows. And, no, it's just fun. But Scarlett came into the kitchen at the house there, and she told Alina that her belly was hurting her. She said, Mommy, my belly hurts. And Alina said, well, that's probably because you haven't eaten yet today. You need to put some food in there. Your belly's empty. And it turns out you were right, as Mommy usually is, and she felt better. And that afternoon, I walked into the kitchen, and I was having a headache. And I asked Alina where the medicine was. And Scarlett heard me, and she piped up and said, Daddy, your head hurts because there's nothing in there. It's empty. That's right. She's pretty smart. I'll give her some credit for that one. All right. Let's sing this song. I'm so glad Jesus lifted me. I'm so glad Jesus lifted me. I'm so glad Jesus lifted me. Singing glory, hallelujah. Jesus lifted me. I'm so glad Jesus lifted me. I'm so glad Jesus lifted me. I'm so glad Jesus lifted me. Singing glory, hallelujah. Jesus lifted me. When I was in trouble, Jesus lifted me. When I was in trouble, Jesus lifted me. When I was in trouble, Jesus lifted me. Singing glory, hallelujah. Jesus lifted me. this old classic record.
I don't know about tomorrow. I just live from day to day. That's right. I don't borrow from your sunshine. I know it's skies might turn to gray, and I don't worry over my future, for I know what Jesus said. And today I'll walk right beside him, for he knows what is ahead. Many things about tomorrow I don't seem to understand, but I know who holds tomorrow, and I know who holds my hand.
I don't know about tomorrow. It may bring me poverty, but the one who feeds the sparrow is the one who stands by me, and the path that is my portion may be through the flame or flood.
But I love this part right here.
But His presence goes before me, and I'm covered by His blood. Many things about tomorrow I don't seem to understand, but I know who holds tomorrow, and I know who holds my hand. Yes, I know who holds my
Praise the Lord.
We'll sing one more song for you, and I think Brother Dave is going to come and take an offering in a minute. But I love that song that we just sang, because
Beautiful.
we really never do know what tomorrow holds,
That's right.
but we can absolutely know who's walking with us every single step of the way. That's not just a cliche, that is a fact.
That's right.
And if you don't know who's holding your hand tonight, you can leave here knowing that your hand is in the hand of God. and He's walking with you no matter what you face. It doesn't mean it always turns out the way we want or the way we plan, but it means no matter what the outcome, we're trusting Him, and He has the grace to help us through whatever we face. That's the reality of serving Jesus and walking with Jesus. I never fail to be amazed at the grace of God. I tell you, I have a first cousin. Her name is Cheyenne. Cheyenne, and a Christian that is largely made up, or in a family that is largely made up of Christians. Cheyenne was not a Christian, and Cheyenne was probably about as far from God as you can possibly imagine a person could be. If you were to imagine someone as far away from God, I mean, that was Cheyenne probably fit that description. One of Cheyenne's biggest issues was drugs. And if you know anybody on drugs, you know how devastating drugs can be. And my first cousin Cheyenne was addicted to about everything that there is out there. And she lived a lot of years homeless on the streets with needles in her arms and all that sort of stuff. As a family, we prayed for Cheyenne very heavily for a long, long time. And I'll be honest with you, there were days where our faith grew dim sometimes. I know, speaking for myself, I even said out of my own mouth, I wonder if there's hope for her. I wonder if she's going to ever change. There were days where I doubted, I'll be honest with you. But through the grace of God and through the prayers of many people, she finally came to a place where she wanted help. And if you know anybody on drugs, you know you can't help them until they want help. They've got to want to change. It's because it's a hard process and a hard road. And she got to that place by the grace of God. And we got her into a facility. We teamed some money together, and as a family, we got her into a home for girls, that rehab facility. And we find out a couple weeks later that she had run away. She had relapsed. And we do the process again, and she'd do that again. And we got her into the third facility. I believe it was the third one. And this was a Christian facility that focused on renewing your mind through the Word of God. And that works, by the way. And while Cheyenne was at this facility, she got clean for the first time in a long time. Since she was a little girl, really, to be honest. And when she got clean one afternoon in their chapel services, guess what? She got saved. Praise the Lord. And when she got saved, God came into her life and He did a miraculous work. He cleaned her up from the inside out. We saw a Cheyenne that we hadn't ever seen. The lights were back on in her eyes. It was beautiful. It defied what some of us even thought was going to happen. But the truth is, the grace of God can reach far beyond what we can ever ask or think.
Amen.
So I wrote this song that we're going to sing for you next. I wrote it in May of last year. And I wrote this song inspired by what the grace of God had done in Cheyenne's life. When I wrote this song, I was thinking of my first cousin, Cheyenne. And I never dreamed that 4 months from the day I wrote this song would be sung at Cheyenne's funeral. Because Cheyenne ran a stop sign on her way home from work one afternoon, had an absent-minded moment, and was hit and killed instantly on impact at the age of just 24 years old. And while that was very hard, we know where Cheyenne is.
Amen. Praise the Lord.
And again, it's all because of the grace of God. I don't know who you might be praying for tonight, but I want to encourage you to keep praying. Keep believing.
Amen.
Don't ever stop the prayers for the lost and the needy. We all know someone it seems there's no hope for. You've prayed and prayed for years that they would turn to God, but your faith is running low and time is running out. But what they got
saved? What if they found Christ? What if God came in and completely changed their life? What if they found hope? What if they found joy? What if they came home to the arms of the Lord? What if they got saved?
The chains of sin are strong, but the love of God is stronger.
Amen.
In spite of many wasted years, eternity is longer. Don't ever stop the prayers for the lost and the needy. Don't give up your faith. Keep on believing.
What if they got saved? What if they found Christ? What if God came in and completely changed their life? What if they found hope? What if they found joy? What if they came home to the arms of the Lord? What if they got saved? There's no depth so far God's grace can't reach. God's power to change lives is found on our knees. What if they got saved? What if they found Christ? What if God came in and completely changed their life? What if they found hope? What if they found joy? What if they came home to the arms of the Lord? What if they got saved? What if they found Christ? What if God came in and completely changed their life? What if they found love? What if they found joy? What if they came home to the arms of the Lord? What if they got saved? What if they got
Yes, praise the Lord.
What if they got saved?
Praise the Lord.
Would you pray with me? Jesus, we love you tonight.
Yes.
And we do thank you for your grace tonight, God. Your grace that none of us deserve, because we are all sinners, the Bible says, and we've all fallen short of your glory. But yet, while we were sinners, you died for us, so that you could pay the price for our sin that we could never pay, and that we could be forgiven through you, through your mercy, through your love, and through your grace alone.
Yes.
And for that unmerited favor, we say thank you tonight, God.
Yes.
We praise you for what you have done for us. God, if there is anybody here tonight who's praying for someone, it is our hope that they would be encouraged to keep praying, to keep believing. We do know that prayer is the key that unlocks the power of heaven. The devil's goal is to defeat our prayers, to defeat our faith, so that we'll quit calling on heaven, which we know is what unlocks the power of heaven. God, don't let the devil defeat our faith tonight. We know through parables in your word that you reward those who keep coming to you in faith, who keep asking for their needs, who keep trusting you, even when it looks like there might be no hope. We keep coming to you. We keep believing in you. And that is powerful. So God, help us tonight to keep the faith. And Lord, reward the faith of your children tonight, I pray. Answer the prayers to save the lost loved ones that we may have and those friends that we may have. God, move in lives and move on hearts with your full power and your full grace, so that all may come to repentance that we are praying for. God, we love you with all of our hearts tonight. It's only by you that we stand here tonight. And so we give you praise, we give you glory. Thank you for these sweet people who are worshiping you tonight. I see it on their faces. They're worshiping you. And God, I love it when people worship you. Thank you for these friends that we've made tonight who love you with all of their hearts. May you be with them and near them and bless them. And we'll give you all the praise, Jesus. And it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Praise the Lord.
As David, I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
This is Brother Doug Colson, and we're going to have him sing a couple of songs. I'm your nephew. And you're my nephew. Not all of them are related. My mom's second oldest of 16 kids.
Yes.
That was the one I tested.
The one knew he'd reached the end of life's journey. And he'd been holding to God's hand a long, long time. And as I knelt beside his bed, my heart was thrilled at what he said. If I go or if I stay, the victory is mine. I'm a winner either way. If I go or if I stay, for I'll still have my Jesus each passing day. I'll have my healing here below,
Amen.
for life forever if I go. Praise the Lord, I'm a winner either way. None of us really knows about tomorrow. We must prepare to go. I'm a winner either way. If I go or if I stay, for I'll still have my Jesus each passing day. I'll have my healing here below, for life forever if I go. Oh, praise the Lord, I'm a winner either way. Praise the Lord, I'm a winner either way.
You gotta give your testimony while you got that moment.
I was in a rock band, lead singer for Romeo, and I doing my drugs and all that good stuff there, yeah. But God, He brought me through it all. He kept me safe. You know, I've done a lot of dumb things in my life. But He kept me safe. I had a lot of family that prayed for me, and you know, I gave my life to God like in the year 2000. And then I ended up going back out for about 13 years. I was in church for like 6.5 years, and then out of church for like 13 years. And I just come back to the Lord on Easter Sunday this past year. And I really gave all my heart to Him this time, I think. You know, I really feel that with all my heart. I feel that really. He's really changed my life, and He's there for me for everything. You know, I have my ups and downs, but He's always there. And I'm thankful to have Him in my life now. I believe in a hill called Mount Calvary. I believe whatever the cost, and when time has surrendered and earth is no more, I'm still cling to the old rugged cross. I believe that the climb with its great mysteries surely someday will come to an end. Oh, faith will conquer the darkness and death,
Amen.
and will lead me at last to my friend. I believe that the Christ who was slain on that cross surely someday will come to us today. Oh, He changed me completely. A new life is mine, and that is why by the cross I will stay. And I believe in a hill called Mount Calvary. I believe whatever the cost, and when time has surrendered and earth is no more, I'll still cling to the old rugged
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Thank you, Doug.
That's awesome.
Hey, I don't have to come up there, do I?
Okay.
Well, let's welcome back our friends, the Craguns.
That is truly wonderful. My goodness. Especially when you hear the testimony to go with it. Oh, is that okay? want to also, did you see, where are those cards at? The cards that you see in the seat backs in front of you, they're really important because anytime you fill one of those cards out, whenever you fill that card out, you are now on our mailing list, all right? And the reason that's important is because anytime we are ever in this area, within a certain mile radius of this area, you will get a postcard that will come to your mailbox, and it'll tell you when the concert is, what time it starts, where it's going to be, and all that, okay? It's totally free. It doesn't cost you a dime. It doesn't even mean that you have to come. It just lets you know, all right? So if you would grab that card right now and put your name and address on there before you forget. If you're like me, you'll forget, all right? If you need a pen, just reach in the purse closest to you. They might have one. We also have pens back there on the table if you need one as well. But fill those cards out, and as you leave tonight, just drop them on the table on the way out the door, okay? Thank you so much for doing that. I know that we will come back to this area in the future, and we'd love to just at least let you know, okay? Our office sends out hundreds of those cards all the time. Thousands, actually, all over the country every year. Whenever we're going to be in an area, people know, and that's a great way to let folks know. Also, we're on Facebook. If you guys are on social media, look us up on there too. That's another great way to see us and keep in touch. We like to stay in touch with you as we travel around the country. Well, we have a brand new album. A lot of the songs we're singing tonight are off of our brand new album. If you want to take our music home with you tonight, you can do that. You saw it on the way in there. You can take credit cards, debit cards, cash, check, whatever you want to do. We invite you to take a CD or two or all four of them home with you tonight, all right? We've got a special if you get all four, but we just did a brand new album, and we had a lot of requests to do more a cappella on it. And so here's one of the a cappella songs that we put on our brand new album. Actually, both of the last two songs we're going to sing for you tonight are from our brand new record. And I love this prayer.
Pass me not, O gentle Savior. Hear my humble cry. While on others thou art calling, do not pass me by. Savior, Savior, hear my humble cry. While on others thou art calling, do not pass me by. Thou the spring of all my comfort, more than life to me. Whom have I on earth beside thee? Whom in heaven but thee? Oh, Savior, Savior, hear my humble cry. While on others thou art calling, do not pass me by. While on
you tonight with what I believe to be some of the most powerful words ever spoken on this earth. These were words that taught us how to pray. But in doing that, they really taught us how to live. And these were words spoken straight out of the mouth of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread,
And forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors.
and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory
Hallelujah. Give me praise tonight. God bless you. We love you. Did you enjoy them? We sure thank you guys for coming all that way, be with us here tonight. Again, remember, keep them in prayer. Anytime they're anywhere that you might be by, stop in and visit them. I know you enjoy their singing. We just really appreciate them coming out here tonight. I appreciate each and every one of you for coming out tonight. It's just a blessing to see people will come out and respond to ministries like that. And it really helps the groups to know that the people are, getting something from it. They're bringing the word of God everywhere they go. By the way, I guess you're from the Nazarene Church too.
We attended Nazarene Church when we're home.
When they're home. It says very, very seldom. So we appreciate all the Nazarenes, and of course we got our non-denominational churches here too. But, don't forget to stop back out there and look at their products. I know you'd like to take all of them home with you. You've got gifts and things like that too. It's always a great gift to give to somebody and listen to yourself. Brother Harry, I'm going to call on you today, or tonight. Would you please lead us out of here in prayer?
Dear gracious Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for the wonderful blessings, and not just that, for the word that was spoken here tonight, and also the songs that were sung to us, Lord. And we ask you to look upon each one individual as they travel on mercy journeys. This group of people, Lord, we ask you to put your hands envelop them around it with your arms around them, Lord, and keep them protected, Lord, wherever they might go, Lord. We ask you to lift them up in high places. Give them that peace that passes all understanding, Lord. I know sometimes it's very hard to be away from your family so long. But Lord, we know that when they go out on the highways and byways, as you said in the word, you compel them to come in, Lord. And we give you all the praise and honor. You let our light so shine among men, so the Father which in heaven to be glorified. Once again, Lord, we ask you to look upon this group, Lord, as a whole. Lord, I ask you to bless them abundantly, Lord. Be with all the individuals that are here tonight, Lord. Safe mercy journeys back home. We want to thank you for the wonderful fellowship we've had here tonight, Lord. We thank you for the Holy Spirit. We thank you for your Son that died upon that cross. Once again, we give you all the honor and praise in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Before you all leave, I think tomorrow they're going to be in Elkhart, Indiana, and then they're going to be in Kippy Canoe, Indiana. So if anybody wants to go out and see them, come out and see them. Now, before you leave, next Saturday, the 22nd, from 7 a.m. till 11 a.m., we are having a Ken Craig Community Garden hillbilly breakfast. Okay? It's going to have scrambled eggs, biscuits, gravy. It's going to have fried apples, fried potatoes, probably some coffee and whatever else. So, and I had tickets for it and I forgot to bring them. But, you know, if you still want to buy them, you can get them for $7 in advance or $9 at the door. That's next Saturday.
Hillbilly breakfast.
Coming up in May, we've got several concerts scheduled. May the 3rd, we have Jason Reynolds and his son Braden Reynolds. They'll be here. That's May. July the 25th, we have the Daddy Sisters. Ann's been really sharing that with a lot of people. They just love it. Young girls, and there's actually 4 girls and a mother that actually sing. So that's June, July. August the 21st, we've got the Farm Hands. They're a gospel bluegrass group out of Nashville, Tennessee. They'll be with us. They'll be here at 6:30. The other 2 are at 6 o'clock. August, September 27th, we have the Divinity Tree. So that's what we've got scheduled for the year. Mark it down on your calendar if you would. Tell everybody, because we'd like to get this place clear full at some point in time. But I really do. I really appreciate you coming out tonight in bad weather. God bless us all. Drive safely. Don't forget to stop.